So hello there and welcome to my experiment where I'm going to extract the DNA from strawberries. Okay, for doing an experiment, now introducing our ingredients, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Victor and today we are inside my school laboratory. Now before doing the experiment, it's important for us to use the proper safety equipment. Here I have with me some safety gloves and a lab coat, which for this home as experiment, it should be enough for us. So before I introduce the ingredient, let me bring the camera closer. Here we go. Okay, all right. Now for the experiment, we're going to use strawberries. I use 6 of them, and I have some here. I have some sodium hydroxide, commonly known as table salt, and I have dishwashing soap. You can use any types of dishwashing soap as you would like, and you might also use detergent or anything of that kind you would like, to be honest. Now I'm going to introduce the tools which we are going to use today, but let's not forget one of the most important part of this experiment is the alcohol. I've been chilling this alcohol inside an ice bath for about 2 hours by now, so I really advise you, if you're attempting to do this experiment at home as well, chill them inside your refrigerator, for example. Make sure they're ice cold. The colder it is, the better it is. Now, for the tools, we have measuring cups. This can measure up to 500 milliliters or about half a liter or something like that. Although it might not be as visible in here in this video. Then we're going to have our cups that we're going to use to hold our finished strawberry extract. We have the bowl which we're going to use to contain the crushed strawberries. This is going to be the container in which we're going to do the first straining on. So this is going to be the first container to, basically we're going to put our extract in here for the first time, and then we're going to do another extraction for the cups. We're going to do basically something that's called a double straining method. And then here we have the trash containers, basically. So any trash like the strawberry mush, the leftover extract maybe, and anything that's basically a trash, I'm going to put it inside of this container so that it's going to be easier for me to clean up later on. This is going to be my strain cloth, although you can use a metal strainer as well, or you can use some coffee strainer as well. Basically any ingredients that you can get at home. Any tools at home as well, as long as they serve the same purpose. Lastly, we have the chopsticks, which we could use for pinching, if you would like to say it like that, pinching our DNA molecules later on. Right. So with all that set up, let's just move on to the experiment, shall we? Right, so here with me I have the 6 strawberries which I have chosen. I choose some of the biggest of them all, so try to get the strawberries as big as you can. And now after we've got them, you would have to remove all the leaves in the stem and then put them in a bowl. Don't forget, for the leaves, you can put them inside the trash containers, basically. And then here is our strawberries. You may wash them beforehand just to get rid of any contaminants, which I'm going to do. Shouldn't take too long. Just wash them for a bit, give them once or twice, and then they should be clean. Look at that. And Now we bring in our forks and start crushing them. This process should take about 5 to 7 minutes just to make sure we have a proper crushed strawberries and we have a somewhat consistent slurry by the time we crushed all the strawberries. So that's gonna take time and I'm going to skip right after we've done the process. See you guys. Alright, so around 7 minutes have passed and I've managed to somewhat turn this pile of strawberries into a slurry. There is still some big bits out there, but most of them has been turned into a slurry and it's not even that big, really. Right, so after we have mushed our strawberries, we're gonna set them aside and then we're going to make our salty soap solution. Right. So here I have the measuring cups, which I've just mentioned before. We're going to fill it with tap water. So we're going to need around 120 mils of tap water inside this container. So I'm just going to take it. Fill it up. All the way past the 100 line and then pour off any extra amount of water since we are gonna need this measurement to at least be roughly correct. Okay. So here with me I have around 120 mils of just straight up plain or tap water if you want to use, depending which one you have in hand. And I'm going to need my sodium hydroxide and this washing soap. I'm using a spoon right now, and so just for practicality we're going to use the rough measurements. So in the protocols you're supposed to use 1 teaspoon of sodium hydroxide, but I'm going to take like just roughly a teaspoon of it since I'm using a tablespoon. You're gonna pour that into the water, make sure it's already formed down inside of it. Close it up. And then you're gonna take your dishwashing liquid, soap liquid, and then you're gonna pour roughly about 2 teaspoons of it. But since I'm holding a tablespoon, I'm gonna just put a whole tablespoon inside. So basically the ratio for the dishwashing soap to the salt is 2 to 1. So make sure that you're still following the ratio, and as long as you're following that ratio, you should be fine. Close that up and then set them aside. Here we have our solutions. Though it's not mixed yet, so we're gonna have to mix it up slowly. And remember, you have to do this slowly so that it doesn't form any sort of bubbles at all. And make sure to keep mixing until all the salt and the soap as well been dissolved. So make sure that all of them are dissolved inside of these solutions. It shouldn't take too long. And again, just mix it nice and gently so that you don't form any bubbles. Few bubbles should be fine as well. You shouldn't panic about that. Mix it up gently and nicely. Make sure all the soap have been dissolved. This movement should take about a whole minute. If you would like to make sure that all of the salt has been dissolved, you can take around 3 minutes at most, and you should be done by then. I do not see any more salt in here, so we should be right about done. I will take it. Alright, we're done. set aside our spoon, and here is the solution. Now we should grab our crushed strawberries and then pour the solution gently, slowly. Make sure not to make any splashes because the splashes are gonna create more bubbles, and we do not want any bubbles. We want to minimize as much bubbles as possible. Okay. Now, once you have your solutions mixed into the strawberry extract, you need to make sure that they mix evenly, which is why we still have the fork inside this bowl. You can use that to stir the solution slowly. Try to mix it just ever so slightly for 2 minutes until it has felt somewhat homogeneous. It's right around 2 minutes, somewhat. I'm just gonna set this aside and I'm going to see you guys in 10 minutes. Alright, so about 10 minutes have already passed, and now I think our strawberry mush is ready. Now remember, before pouring it into the container, make sure that the cloth strainer is ready and put into its place, and make sure that you have some weights, something like a fork and a spoon that should help put those things on the side, and just hope that the cloth strainer doesn't shift while you're pouring it in. And so whilst pouring it, you should do it slowly. Remember, we are doing it slowly here, just pouring it in bit by bit. Here's the last of the strawberries, and then we are done. Our bowl is used up. We're gonna wash the bowl later on, so we're just gonna put it aside for now. And here is our cup. So after we have strained our strawberry extract, we are actually going to extract it again into this cup. Now, according to the protocol, you do not actually have to do this. You can just save it once and you're done with it basically. But I'm doing it twice just so that we can be sure that there is no strawberry mush left over inside our finished extract. Now it doesn't really actually do much stuff. It's just gonna make our experiment much more tidier, and it's gonna be less of a mess basically. Alright, so pretty much most of the extract have been skipped through the strainer. We are actually gonna remove the strain cloth here. I'll remove the spoon first and remove the fork as well, like that. And be careful, do it slowly, ever so slightly. Pull the cloth just to make sure nothing falls down into the finished extract, and then you pull it upwards like this. I'll show you. Now the mush is gonna be in this part that's down below. Make sure you close it up nicely, behind it as well, and then you start to press against this strawberry mush. Make sure you strain most of the juice out. Those are going to be our extracts later on. And then after we have finished, we're going to have to clean this up all over again. and then we're gonna strain the extract to the cup. So I'm going to wash this first. I'm gonna see you guys later. Right now, after I finished washing the straining cloth, we're going to get back to processing our extract. And well, if you can see it now, within our extract there is actually some soap bubbles, not that much luckily. Now we're gonna have to remove these soap bubbles so that they don't actually interfere with our final results. You're just gonna have to remove as much of them as you could. So it's fine if there is some leftover bubbles. Just make sure to remove any big pieces of them. Right, after you're done doing that, we're going to strain it into a cup. Here I have with me a plastic cup which we're gonna use to hold the last extract. So put it over like this and make sure to make some indentations so that the actual strawberry extract knows where to go. Alright, let's put it a bit closer here, and I'm going to turn it to the side so I hope you guys can see the straining process happening. I'll put it to this side a bit. Okay, we should be done. Let's start pouring it in. Again, we're just gonna pour it over slowly. Okay. All of our solution done. There we go. Now we are left with our strawberry extract. It has been sifted twice, so it should be quite pure as of now, and again there's some bubbles in it. That should be fine though. Now what we're going to do next is just grab ourselves the alcohol which we have put into an ice bath before. Make sure to take out the caps. And then roughly pour the same amount of alcohol in volume with your solutions. This might not be the same, but I'm just gonna pour in roughly the same amount. Okay. Right. Now you hold it carefully. Your hand like this. You tilt it a bit to the side, and then you slowly pour your alcohol. Just slowly. Remember, don't do it too aggressively, otherwise they're just gonna mix and you're not gonna get that separated DNA layers. You wanna do it slowly. Again, you wanna do it slowly. Surely. Alright, there you go. The layer has already formed. So the upper part of the layer will be alcohol, whilst the lower one should be our strawberry extract. There you go. That's roughly an equal divide in the middle. I'll bring this closer, wipe off some part of the water here, but as you can see clearly that there is going to be a divide within this upper part, which is the alcohol. I use ethyl with around 70% purity, like that, and then the bottom part is going to be our strawberry extract to be. And now, if you can see right at the middle layer here, some bubbles, really small bubbles, are forming. those are our DNA. We're just gonna wait for it to clump over, and after they've finished condensating, we're just gonna pull them up using something. Right, so it's been roughly about 3 minutes in which I've let the alcohol sit in the solution. Now you can clearly see in the middle of the solution there is some white part in the middle. This is our DNA basically. Oh, you can see it there. Oh, it's a bit stringy, and they've condensated a little bit. We should be able to pull them up, although it's quite hard to do so. You should try that a few times if you're gonna get it right. Okay, it's a bit stringy. I'm trying to fish out one of the DNAs, but it's not letting me to. It's a bit hard. So this might take some time. Just gotta be patient. I think there is some of them. Side. Okay, so yeah, some of the DNAs are clinging into the tip of my chopstick right now. So there you go. This white part is basically all of the DNA which we have collected. Trying to collect as much DNA as I could. Now you can see it quite clearly here. I'm going to give you another look. Give me a moment. Alright, so this is how the DNA actually kind of look like. There's some alcohol dripping from it, yes, okay, but here's the DNA. It's a bit white substance like, and it's a bit stringy. Definitely you might not be able to see that very clearly since it's really small, but it's definitely very, very stringy. So yeah, that's it. This is the DNA which we have extracted from this experiment. Now you might be tempted to eat this stuff, but I advise you not to because it's drowned in alcohol unless you want to get drunk or something. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.